Do, 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 do. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Play Some Video Games, the only gaming podcast that still has all of its fingers and all of its toes after celebrating the 4th of July. Though it's a holiday week here in the United States, we keep on trucking, and thank you for joining us each and every week. We appreciate you spending a little bit of your time with us. I'll be your host this week, Kyle, and joining me to make PSVG Tron are Coach Mo. How's it going today, sir?
Good, brother.
Awesome. Justin, what's going on, man?
Oh, it's living the dream.
Excellent. And Josh, welcome, sir. Great to talk with you again.
Thanks. Good to be back.
Awesome. So I know I had a bit more time to game this week as a result of the holidays, but what I'm interested in is what have all of you been playing since last we spoke? And Coach Mo, I'm going to start with you because you're working on a special project during this podcast. Is that not true?
That is true. So a couple weeks ago, I had talked to a couple friends on just Chief Hunters in general, and I picked up a Windows phone. This is the Lumia 950 XL. It's not actually going to be my phone. I'm still going to have my iPhone for that. But all I do on it is I log in and I will be playing random games to get achievements. And so today during the podcast, I'll be playing Chickens Can't Fly, which has a total of 20 achievements for 200 total gamer score. So I'll be jumping into that while we're podcasting and seeing how many I can knock out. I've been playing a lot of Madden. My buddy Dan and I have gotten through 2 seasons in the last week and a half. It's currently 2024. The Bears have won the Super Bowl 7 of the last 8 years. We lost one of them. That was a dark moment for us. We don't like to talk about. Rest in peace, Jay Cutler. And we've had a lot of fun. I played a lot of Overwatch. Got to play on the PC and play as Doomfist, who is incredible. I can't wait for everybody else to get him in the general populace. And then a lot of just random games. Nate started a little fight with me. He pointed out that he had 100 gamer score ahead of me at the very beginning of the month of July. I'm currently beating him by 2,000, and we'll continue that process going hard over the next month. Some of the games I 1,000, a little game called Little Acre, which is a really fun little story game. And then I also 1,000 one called Fragments of Him, which is actually probably one of the best stories I've played on the Xbox so far. So,
wow, that's some high praise.
Yeah, so that's me.
So, Coach, I have a quick question for you. I saw that recently the person who had the highest gamer score recently lost that title after having it for like a decade or close to a decade.
Yeah.
When are we going to see your name on top of that list?
I had a very late start to the whole gamer score thing. I didn't start achievement hunting until about 2014. So I'm kind of fresh into it. But when I first met Nate a year ago, he was beating me by about 20,000. I'm now about 40,000 ahead of him. So I'm going to keep pushing, and my next benchmark is 200,000, and then after that, we'll go for that $500,000 mark.
Awesome. So. Well, that is something to live up to in that amount of time. That is exceptional. Justin, sir, what have you been playing?
I have been playing one single game, and that is Thumper on my Nintendo Switch. I've just been obsessed with that game lately. It's just, between the gameplay style and the portability of the Switch, it's very easy to pick up every night, play for 10 minutes, then put down. And lately I've been pretty busy, and I was out of town for the holidays, so I didn't bring my Switch with me because decided to pay a little more attention to family instead, But when I have been home, it's been Thumper all the way.
So, if you had to give Thumper a score, because I played it on PSVR and loved it, what score would you give it and why?
I think I would give it somewhere probably around 90. For what it is, I mean, it's a rhythm game. But it's not to traditional music. It's to its own weird acoustic, crazy music instead, and it nails that gameplay perfectly. It's not the game of the year or something like Zelda or something, but it knows what it is, and it's very, very good at it. You might be tricked into thinking it's a shooter, like some people that may or may not be on this podcast, but But it's a rhythm game and it's perfect. So
Don't they? Isn't their tagline a rhythm violence game?
yeah, that's definitely their tagline, and you see that a lot on Twitter and stuff when people are posting stuff about it. And I did chuckle a little bit. Like if you look at the like key phrases and stuff that they pulled from some of the bigger gaming websites, like stuff like filled with dread and horrified. I mean, it's not the best looking game as far as like some of the background stuff. I mean, it's got cool visuals, but like I don't know. I'm certainly not filled with dread or anything like that. But when I get in a rhythm and I'm hitting every single maneuver, and the music never stops or the noise never stops, it's a really great feeling, kind of like winning a football match or something like that.
Mo, did you play Thumper on PSVR?
Yes, I did. Well, let me pause my game. I got tricked into it because somebody told me it was a first-person shooter on rails, and I was like, "Yeah, I love those kind of games. Sign me up." It is not a first-person shooter on rails. There's no shooting at all, and it's a fun game. Like I for a PSVR or a PSVR title, it's good. Like I enjoyed it. I would put it in that out of the 20 games that I have on PSVR, it's in the top 10. But again, I was tricked into it. And then was so mad that when I finally went back to it, that's when I was like, oh, well, this has merit. And the rhythm compositions are awesome. It gave me that the first time you played Rock Band feeling where you really enjoyed what you were doing, where you really enjoyed hitting that beat. You're like, yes, I'm nailing this song. That's the same thing you got in this. But again, yeah, a little hokey at times. I don't ever remember being filled with dread. Resident Evil 7 on VR, yeah, that filled me with dread. I can't play that game anymore. I put it on, played about a minute and a half, took the headset off, and went down the bathroom with the lights on and sat there. Like, that's dread.
Yeah.
Okay. Thumper, there was no dread. There was no fear.
Did either of you get sick playing? Because, I mean, just playing on my Switch, like it's a fast game, or at least it gives the illusion of that you're moving really fast. So I was curious about that.
Battlefront's the only one that's made me sick.
Oh, okay.
Everything else, what's the Eve Valkyrie? I was fine. Farpoint, I was fine. The Batman one, of course, because you don't do anything. The Spider-Man one, I was fine. But no, the Star Wars one, you can turn in some weird ways, and it really like the graphically, it did make me nauseous. That's the only one that I was like, I can't play you that often. So,
yeah, Thumper, I was surprised because I thought with how fast it was going to be, it was going to make me sick, but it didn't at all. The only one that made me feel, and it didn't even make me feel sick, it made me feel weird, was actually Robinson the Journey, because it was the first time I'd ever had smooth motion, or that I ever played with smooth motion in VR. And that one took me a little bit to get used to. I wasn't sick. Yeah. I just felt funny. I felt like something wasn't right.
So yeah, it was very unnerving, like not nauseating, but like you just felt like goosebumpy. That's how. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Like I felt like I was stressed the whole time, but not because I was like worried or scared. Just like something was wrong. So,
well, I mean, I'm stressed and I'm not playing in VR. It's just because I'm liking this game quite a bit, but there's been plenty of times where I've been very close to chucking my Switch across the room because I'm so upset.
Yeah, I'm glad it's translated really well because I thought it was a really great title in VR and very, very like immersive and helped you feel there. So I'm glad it translates well to Switch because I was a little worried I didn't know how it would, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I might as well be playing in VR. I do hold the Switch this close to my face, so I'm like in the game. But
awesome. All right, Josh, sir, what's been on your gaming docket?
Well, I'm on vacation. I thought, man, I'm going to get so much gaming in. And I realized, while my wife's working, it's just me and the baby. So not a lot of gaming happened in the past week. I got Coach and I played some Destiny for a little bit. But because I didn't get the Rise of Iron expansion, we were pretty limited to what we could do, which is always a bummer for me with the Destiny thing. I've never been on that end of it. I was always like first to buy DLC. So it was always my buddies who were like, "Oh, I can't play because I didn't buy such and such DLC yet." So that was kind of it was fun to play with Coach, but it was kind of a bummer that I couldn't get to that content. I picked up Zombie Army Trilogy on the Xbox sale because it's a game I've been looking at for a while, and I just couldn't pull the trigger at $40, but it was like $12. So I had to jump in at that price, and I played a little bit solo. I mean, what I didn't know before I purchased it was it's definitely meant to be played cooperatively online. It still has campaign mode, but it really, like, they're asking you, do you want to jump into matchmaking? And like on the very bottom is like play solo. So like, you know that that's not what it's geared for, but I enjoy it. It definitely reminds me of that like Sniper Elite kind of gameplay style. So it's pretty cool. And I just wrapped up Perception. My review went out today. You can check out the full review, but overall, I thought it was an excellent game. Very unique. Not a lot of games like it. So it's they call it. I think they call it adventure horror. I would call it more like it's more suspenseful than it is like horrific. Like there's some creepy stuff in it, but I mean, you play as a blind girl who you use a cane to see where you're going using echolocation. So a majority of the game is just pretty much pitch black screen. And like, unless there's like something making noise, you really can't see anything. You have your cane, but the more you use it, the more attention you attract to yourself. So you're kind of, motivated to not use your cane if you don't have to kind of see where you're going. Utilizes like a cool smartphone app that I'm assuming that blind people actually use. It's called Delphi, where it like scans documents and will read it back to the person. You also get like text messages that I'll read back to you and you can send out. So it's very cool, very creepy. I did start the first night I started, it was like 8:30 at night. I had to stop and play it the next day in the daylight. So it was certainly creepy. And then I jumped into Breath of the Wild yesterday, which it's kind of been sitting there. I played down. Yeah, I played like 20 minutes of it when I got it, but there was so much stuff going on. Like I was in the middle of Horizon or just starting at that point. So, I had so much stuff going on gaming wise, and then Andromeda for what I played of it. So yeah, and then I've been playing some board games and some mobile app games. So keep myself, it's a lot easier for me to play board games holding the kid. I can't really like play Breath of the Wild and have a child in my arms. So the time I have available, we try to get some friends over for board games. So
can't you play Breath of the Wild with like just one Joy-Con in one hand? Can't you do that?
You probably could. I would have just as much luck as I'd have just as much luck as I am now, falling off towers all the time. So,
because I'm here, I'm going to ask, what board games have you been playing?
Well, we played Potion Explosion today. I played Welcome to the Dungeon for the first time since I've had it, which is a awesome $15 game that you can pick up at Barnes & Noble if you have them in your area. I'm trying to think of what else we've been playing. I should just look at my cabinet, right?
Yeah. Just freeze frame and we'll read through the list.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I picked up. I finally got Scythe. I got a new game called Dice Forge, which looks really cool.
Well, so Kyle, do you play board games regularly?
Oh yeah, I play a ton.
Okay. Well, let me ask you guys both this question. So if I have some friends who don't play board games and are not really like us and nerdy, but if I could convince them to sit down and play one board game, what would you choose?
I'm going to ask you one question.
Madden!
A Madden board game might actually be pretty sweet. Are they competitive people?
Yes.
That's a tough question. Do they like working together?
I think so. Yeah.
Because what we're trying to
teams going.
Yeah, because what we're trying to ascertain is whether they should start with a competitive game or a cooperative game. So that's why we're both asking these questions. Because I mean, cooperative. I mean, Pandemic's going to be the easy answer.
That's what I would have said. Pandemic or even Catan is a good starting game.
Yeah,
And that's cooperative. Those are both cooperative.
Catan's not. Catan's competitive.
Okay.
I mean, the typical ones you're going to hear are like Ticket to Ride, Pandemic, Catan. I mean, those are going to be your pretty typical ones. If you want to try some other styles of like more entry level games, like Dominion is a really good entry level deck building game. That's pretty straightforward. It's going to be a different style of game than they've ever played before. So sometimes people like that and sometimes they don't. But it won't be like anything they've ever played before if they've just played traditional board games. You know, and then we could get into beginning Euros like Lords of Waterdeep and stuff, but that probably wouldn't be a great idea. But I would say Pandemic, Ticket to Ride, Catan, and probably Dominion. Those would probably be the ones I would recommend.
Is Pandemic, how many like players can you play with or up to?
5? Is that right, Josh?
5 players for Pandemic. Yeah, 5 players.
Okay.
5 players. You work cooperatively to eradicate diseases that are slowly and sometimes quickly taking over the world.
Okay. Is it mostly
everyone has a
card based
like,
then?
It's card based, and it uses a board similar to Risk. If you've ever seen a Risk board,
Yeah. Okay.
And you have cubes that represent these diseases. Each person plays like a medic or a dispatcher, and each one has a special skill that you have to kind of coordinate with each other. It's challenging, which is why it's so highly regarded, because it's not a game that you sit down and you win every time you play.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I've been seriously considering getting a few of my friends who would be open to the idea of playing a board game or something other than Cards Against Humanity or whatever. Which is everyone else's go-to.
Right.
That's hopefully at least one of our listeners gets some use out of that.
King of Tokyo would be a great option too.
There you go.
So
I would throw. I actually gave that to Kevin today.
Oh, there you go.
And I
Perfect.
My meetup with So I meet up with Kevin today. I gave him a bunch of board games to take home to play with his family. Big Brain Academy. If you remember the 3DS game, well, they have a board game for it that I used to have. So I gave him that board game, King of Tokyo, Flux, and a bunch of Dice Masters games. I know.
I'm not a huge Flux fan.
Is very.
I appreciate people who like Flux, but I'm not a huge Math Flux is okay, but
it'll be good for the family, I think, for him.
All right. Well, I've been playing a few games. I'll kind of blow through these pretty quickly. Currently working on a review for a game called Plague Road. It is a smaller tactic style RPG game. It's actually pretty interesting. The art direction in it is just beautiful, and the music is really, really good. So look for a review on that, my full review on that soon. Overall, it's pretty fun. I'm enjoying my time with it thus far. But like I said, Plague Road, little tactics RPG that I'm having a good time with. Still playing a ton of Overwatch. For the first time in I don't know how long, I broke over 200 hours in a game, which for me, I know for a lot of people that's not a big deal, but for me, that's a ton. I very rarely play any game even remotely close to that. So I'm well over 200 hours, which I hadn't even realized in Overwatch. Playing, thanks to our good friends at GameStop and their sale going on right now, I picked up Shantae Half Genie Hero for my Vita. So I have been playing that, and I've always wanted to play a Shantae game, and that is one fun little game. Let me tell you, I am really enjoying that. Right before I'm going to bed, I pull out my Vita, lay down, play some Shantae until I'm sleepy, and then go to bed. So that game has been fantastic thus far. I picked up what Josh told me was going to be the game of the year this year, which was Mass Effect Andromeda. So I picked that up as well. I was promised this was going to be game of the year last fall. And I'm not too far into it, probably 3 or 4 hours. I just got my ship. So I'm enjoying the story so far, though. I think there's definitely, obviously, there's a couple issues with animations and things like that. But from a story perspective, I find it interesting. I like my character so far, so that's good. So I'm going to keep playing. I'm enjoying my time. The combat is pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. So I'm enjoying my time with it. I think maybe how much people had undersold it. I thought it was going to be far worse than it is. But I'm having fun, so I'm going to keep going. We're going to keep. I was debating whether I was going to download Horizon again and play in New Game Plus on their super ultra hard difficulty. And I might do that, but I'm going to wait. I think I'm going to stick and keep playing Mass Effect Andromeda. In addition, I am playing Nex Machina, the new game from Housemarque. That game is ridiculously good. If you like twin stick shooters, or if you like Resogun, or if you like any game like that, I can't recommend it enough. That game is incredible. And also playing a little bit, dinking around a little bit in Marvel Heroes Omega. That's a fun little game. I'm enjoying my time there. I have one other friend who's playing it, so I don't play it too often. I just play it when he happens to be online. But I'm enjoying my time with that Diablo-style game, playing with War Machine currently, and I'm having a lot of fun. So, and per the little chat I'm seeing, it looks like Andromeda 1, the poll Kevin had been running online, and it looks like Kevin will be playing Mass Effect Andromeda as well. So maybe...
Boo.
So, I'm
Should be
looking
playing
forward to
Metal Gear
this.
Solid 5.
So... I don't know. I'm having fun with it. It's been a good time. We'll see. Like I said, it's not the best game I've played this year at all, but it's better than I thought it was going to be. So we'll go with that. And with that, we're going to roll into messages because you listeners have been exceptional this week, and we have a ton of messages and things you want us to chat about. So as you know, we love it when you're part of the show. So let's talk about some of the things you want us to discuss. Now, because he's the boss, our intrepid leader, Donnie, did have one question for us he wanted us to answer. He just wants to know, burgers or hot dogs? Coach Mo, which do you prefer?
Neither. I gave... real quick, so I played arena football, played semi-pro ball overseas. My playing weight for football was about 390 pounds because I was a true nose tackle, so my job was to stop two other 300-pound men from going into my linebackers. When I stopped playing, I got rid of all red meat. That means no hamburgers, no hot dogs. I eat chicken, I eat fish, and that's it. And I've done that now for 5 years since I stopped. And it's just one of those things where it's just a health thing for me. So I can honestly say neither. But I have gone to a restaurant and had them make me a chicken strip hot dog, which isn't bad. So that'll be my answer, chicken strip hot dog.
Nice. Justin.
I gotta go with burgers, because I'm not an insane person who would choose hot dogs. Yeah, I like a good burger every once in a while, but I am trying. I'm working on the diet, trying to lay off that too much red meat. I can't cut it out completely, but working on it.
All right, Josh, are you an insane person? Apparently.
No. I'm a burger guy.
There you go. Smart choice.
My wife won't eat beef hot dogs. She doesn't eat red meat, so I have to buy her turkey dogs or chicken dogs. Which I don't know if you guys have ever cooked turkey burgers, turkey dogs on the grill. Doesn't matter how long you cook them for; they look the same when you take them off as when you put them on. There's something wrong with that. So hamburgers. All day, every day.
My sister's a vegetarian, so I've cooked many a vegetarian hot dog and burger in my day. Yeah. And those say, like, I always look at them like, are these done? Like, I have no clue if this is cooked or not.
Yeah. My wife's a vegetarian, so yeah, nice. I deal with that too. But if you I do make homemade black bean burgers. They're pretty darn good.
Oh no, I love a good black bean burger.
And you can tell they're cooked when I throw them on the grill.
Absolutely. And I will go with burgers. If bratwurst were an option, I might pick that. But since it's burgers or hot dogs, I will have to go with burgers. So now on to the gaming questions that probably many of us are here for the big time. So Chris Osborne, a.k.a. Now I need to know. I don't know if this is mRozzy22 or Mr. Ozzy22 on Twitter.
It's actually Mr. Ozzy.
Okay.
Because it's Osborne.
I was wondering.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I thought that's what it was, but I didn't know if maybe he was trying to be clever with mRozzy to throw us all off. But Mr. Ozzy22 brings us two questions. First off, he ordered a Switch. Congratulations. What are the top 3 games that he needs to buy? I don't own a Switch, so I'm out. Justin,
well,
other than Thumper.
So I own a Switch. I've owned it since Switch launch, and I currently only have 3 games. So it's pretty easy selection for me. Mario Kart, Zelda, and Thumper. There are other good games out on there. There's ARMS and some other, indie titles. If you haven't played Shovel Knight, then I think that's probably gotta be one of your three, for sure. But other than that, yeah, those are the three that I currently own, and I'm very happy with all three of them.
Mo, are there others? Do you agree?
Well, so Chris is actually like one of my dearest friends, and he's the first person who ever handed me a Nintendo console. He actually gave me a 3DS to borrow one weekend, and that's the first time I ever played Star Fox. And he gave me something else. I don't remember what it was. I didn't enjoy it, but I had a blast playing Star Fox. And so because of you, Chris, Zelda is definitely worth playing if you're into that stuff.
Wow.
If you like weapons that, again, this is the best that's on the Switch. The Switch has like 5 games. So, yeah, Zelda's probably one you probably should play if you like your weapons breaking after using them once and you like having no idea what's happening and a main character who can't speak, even though it's 2017. If you like that stuff, I'm sure Zelda's for you. But I would strongly recommend Mario Kart. I love being able to play it on the actual Switch, as not with the things off, but just with the Switch. I feel like it controls really well. And because of my hands being fairly large, I kind of engulf the Pro Controller. But when I'm actually holding the Switch, I feel pretty normal. I like that feeling. It's the same reason I like the Wii U gamepad. That fit my hands really well. So I would say Mario Kart is really good. ARMS is fantastic. I love playing ARMS. I have an absolute blast playing that game. And especially when you're playing online against somebody, if you're in a good match where it's not laggy, oh man, it's strategic. It's bouncing around, throwing punches. It's doing different combos, trying to get in there, unlocking the different hands. Me and my girl Twilight, we've been doing really well. I think we're like 15 or 16-0 online right now. I'm having a blast with that game. That's the first thing that brought me back to using that Switch. So,
all right, Josh, what say you, sir?
I don't think I've ever disagreed with Coach on so many things in one fell swoop. Okay, so I answered him on Twitter already. I have my Switch here. I was playing while we were waiting. You probably can't see what's on it, but there's plenty of games, way more than 5 games, Coach.
Off the top of your head, without looking at your Switch, name me 5 games.
Name 5 games?
Without looking at your Switch.
I'll name ARMS if I have to. I'm not happy to.
So there's one.
ARMS, Zelda, Mario Kart, Kamiko, Graceful Explosion Machine, Blaster Master Zero.
I have not heard of 3 of these. Are these real games, or is he making up words?
Yeah, those are real games.
Okay.
Anyways, so the ones I picked, I didn't even pick. I think I said Breath of the Wild, but I mean, Graceful Explosion Machine is a game I picked up on Jason and I think Donnie's recommendation. Just a phenomenal little like pocket shooter game. That it's not the thing that I like the most about the Switch. Unless you're buying first party games, the games aren't crazy expensive. Like I have under $20. Like, and for the most part, I mean, rounds I still enjoy, but I understand why people are kind of bummed with the content they got. But I mean, I'm getting Shaq Fu out of it, so I'm okay with that. But I mean, Shovel Knight, the Puyo Puyo Tetris is pretty good. Wonder Boy, they did a great job on that. So I think what I told him on Twitter though was Breath of the Wild, Graceful Explosion Machine, and I can't remember the other game I told him. Oh, it's Shovel Knight, which is also awesome. Nice and portable. Like I've only played Shovel Knight on my Xbox before the Switch, so it was nice to have it on the portable aspect.
Yeah, it's really good on Vita. So, just saying. The one, even though I don't have a Switch, I really wish I could play Graceful Explosion Machine. That is the one game that I am
very good,
super interested in. So awesome. So Chris has another question. He would like to know our thoughts on mobile gaming. Can it be taken as seriously as console gaming, or is it too casual? Justin, I see a smirk. Why don't you lead us off?
Well, I'm smirking because we have a cast member who's literally earning achievements as we speak. Use mobile gaming. So I guess, unless me and Mo are gonna get in a fight, I gotta say, it's definitely taken seriously.
Okay, Mo, what do you think?
Okay, so I hear this thrown around a lot. I'm pretty secure in everything that I do. I'm pretty confident in being a coach, being a teacher, being a husband. My confidence as a gamer has always been low because I didn't know if that was something I could share without ridicule. And so there were some comments a couple weeks ago that got to me. And so I want to say this honestly. If you play a game, I don't care if it's on a phone, on a Vita, on the Switch, on a 3DS, on the Atari, you're a gamer. And you will not get any judgment out of me, and I hope from anyone else. So yeah, I consider a mobile gamer a gamer.
So sorry, if I cut you off, Justin, I didn't mean to. Did you have more to say?
No, I mean, yeah, I agree with what Mo said. I mean, I think gaming is gaming. I think anyone who wants to be a gamer or wants to talk about video games can do so, and they should. I don't, I definitely, I've struggled with this. I still struggle with this. As far as like telling people I'm a gamer, especially in professional life, because it's usually not taken well if they're not a gamer. But as far as, but I mean, but at the same time, those same people probably play mobile games, and they'd probably like to talk about Angry Birds or Flappy Bird or whatever mobile game is out. But and there's some really great mobile games out there. Like Monument Valley, always gets huge recognition for being really good art, game full of art and stuff. So I definitely think it should be taken seriously.
Josh, what say you, sir?
So can you reread the part? What did it say about casual? There was part in the question about casual gaming or something.
It does say, can it be taken as seriously as console gaming, or is it too casual?
Oh, okay. I think yes to both. I mean, the whole point of mobile gaming is casual gaming. However, just like console gaming, there's so many different genres of mobile gaming. Like Mo plays Clash of Clans, I believe, and that game is way too in depth for me. It's way too intense because it's on another level. So in that aspect, like compared to what I play, I'm casual compared to some of the games Mo plays. It just depends on what you play. I have half a dozen, maybe even a dozen board game apps on my phone that I play daily. I'm playing a game of Potion Explosion with my wife right now, who is in the other room. And we're just taking turns going back and forth, and it's very common to do something like that. It's just another great outlet for gaming. And I think that if you don't want to be considered a gamer and you play mobile games and don't consider yourself a gamer, that's fine. But it's a foot in the door for someone who wants to be more serious about gaming. So if you're the person who's like, oh, am I a gamer because I mobile game? Well, yeah, if you want to be, you are. And if you want to go further, you can do that. Some people just go on and play Peggle on their Xbox. They're still gamers, and they can do the same thing on their phone. And look at Oceanhorn. Like what a perfect example of mobile gaming becoming serious gaming. Now it's on like every console, and they're making a sequel because of how successful the first one was. So it is what you want it to be. That's what I'll say. There is no spoon.
So my easy answer to this is that, in Asia, they have esports tournaments based off mobile games. I mean, I don't know how much more competitive you get than that, or how much more hardcore you get than people sitting in an arena playing a game with people watching them to seeing who can be successful. So I think that mobile gaming definitely can be hardcore. It can be just like any game on a console. Like there are hardcore games on console. There are chill out, just going to play this for 10-minute games. It's kind of whatever you want it to be, like everyone else said. So yeah, I think, it can be whatever you want it to be or whatever you make it to be. If you're hardcore about it, then it can be hardcore. And if you're not, maybe then you're not. So I think it's awesome. Let's all game. Let's have fun. It's great. Friend of the show, Haley, at HaleyZRL on Twitter, wonders, are any of us excited for Shadow of War? Coach Mo.
The collector's edition's pre-ordered, and I'm super hyped, especially after the announcement today with the Nemesis system carrying. I think it's carrying over, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It actually makes me want to go back through and replay again and die a couple times. Like, just get wrecked and have somebody get built up into just a stud. So, really excited for that game.
Yeah, it was my game of the year in 2014 when it came out. I am like 2 trophies probably short of the platinum, and I've always been looking for a reason to go back and finish it. This might be that reason. The fact that the Nemesis system carries over, I probably now will go back, finish up that platinum, and see what I can do to make some pretty sweet dudes and some pretty sweet orcs before I play Shadow of War. I am super stoked for this game. Really looking forward to it. Josh, are you excited as Mo and I?
I'm not. Honestly, you guys just got me more excited. I didn't know that news. So, well, my only problem is I picked the game up when it came out, and my buddy got hurt at work, and he was going to be out of work for 6 months, and I let him borrow my game, and I never got it back from him, so I never got to play it. I played maybe an hour or 2 of the game before I let him borrow it, and I liked what I played. I'm a big fan of the Nemesis system as it is, so knowing that, maybe I'll pick up the Game of the Year edition and play through the first one first, and then jump into that.
So I'm guessing it might be on sale on Xbox right now. I know the Game of the Year edition's on sale on PlayStation for like $4 or $7 or something like right now.
Oh yeah, well, let's take a look then. Yeah, maybe
So,
I'll do that.
Justin, are you going to be heading out to Mordor?
No. I never got into the first game, so second one, even with that new news, doesn't really do anything for me. So, sorry.
No, it's okay. Hey, you got to have different games because we all enjoy the same things. And of course, being friend of the show status, Haley has another question. Are any of us playing Marvel Heroes Omega? Because she is absolutely loving it. So I know Coach Mo and I are. Josh, are you playing it?
Yeah, I started it when it was on the PC however many years ago. So I signed up for the PS4 like Founders Pack thing where I got the War Machine pack. So I played a bunch of the War Machine. I do intend on going back, and I'll probably also download it on the Xbox One now because I know some of the PSVG guys are playing it. So it's easier to have it on both consoles, especially being free. So I'm a big fan. It scratches the Ultimate Alliance itch. It's Marvel, Diablo. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. So I'm a big fan.
Justin, have you been playing it all?
I haven't. Nope. I played it when it came out on PC at first, but I have not played it since it came to console.
Gotcha. Coach Mo, I know you are playing a lot. What are you thinking, and who are you playing as?
I'm playing as the Hulk. Actually, it was a late night. I think it was like Wednesday night. Me and Dan, who's also a big friend of the show, and we love him to death. We just got done playing a game of Madden, and I was like, man, I really want to try this game out. So he downloaded it. We both started playing together. Him as Daredevil, and me as Hulk. And then 2 hours went by, and then we played again the next night. And I think our characters are in the 20s somewhere, and we're having a blast. Like, I think we're into chapter 3 now. We're just kind of mowing through. But when you said it was a Marvel Diablo, yeah, that is a perfect way. Like, you got your wheel pull up, you're throwing your gear in, and I'm having a blast so far. Like, it's a really fun game. And so far we've had like 0 issues with like lag and that kind of stuff. The issues we kind of run into is the same like quick time events keep popping up, so we just kind of keep jumping in to get XP. So that's been kind of fun. Like, didn't we just play this like a minute ago? Hey, it's back. Let's do it again. But other than that, we're having a blast. Really, really fun game, and the humor in there is really good. They did a great job.
Agreed. Yeah, you have to save shield agents who are being attacked by people like really quickly, really regularly. So yeah, I'm having a blast with it. Like I said, I'm playing as War Machine because I got the pack early as well. I'm playing with one other friend who's playing as Hawkeye, and we are both in the mid-20s. It is a grand time. It's a game I can see myself playing, not every day, but I'm probably going to be playing it for a very long time. in little chunks like this, and it is definitely a good time. So one thing that you'll notice when we get towards the end of the show is we're not doing any news this week. However, Nathan wanted us to discuss something that was a bit of a news story this week, and he wants to know our thoughts on the Xbox One X trailer of Anthem being uploaded to the PlayStation YouTube channel. Now, the big thing he said is he's like, doesn't want to look at this from a fanboy point of view, but just more from the view of what do we think about wrapping something up to look like it represents you when it actually doesn't? So what are our thoughts on it? I know Mo has some thoughts on it. I haven't said anything in our Discord chat about it, but I want to hear what Mo has to say because he looks super stoked to say some things.
All right. Part of my job is dealing with attitudes and adolescent kids. And for some reason, my poor girls are so infatuated with Snapchat filters and different angles of making things bigger and smaller as they need to for said pictures and then posting them for the world to see. When this stuff happens, it just makes you look so petty and jealous. Be who you are. If you don't have Anthem footage of your own, then don't post it. If you don't have the measurements that you want to post for people to see, then don't post it. Be who you are and be happy with that. Be happy with what you got, because it just makes you look jelly. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm done now. Thank you.
Okay. Justin, your thoughts?
It seems pretty like I mean, it's bad. I mean, I think it's kind of like shameful for that. It's embarrassing for PlayStation to have that happen. So I don't know, someone must have just been lazy on their job or something. And because if Anthem is as far along as like they're saying it is, then there must be running on a PlayStation somewhere. So for them not to have that footage, either they have it or they don't. So they should have either posted it if they had it or not posted it if they didn't. So, but yeah, it's not good.
Josh.
Yeah, I'm kind of in line with both Mo and Justin. Like, it's just embarrassing is maybe the word. Like, it's someone had to have a conversation where they thought that it was okay to poorly Photoshop over this thing and just put it out there. And if you work for a company that's Sony or BioWare, regardless, like that's not what you represent. So at least they could have done a better job at photoshopping it, is my point.
Okay.
Put some more effort into it if you're going to do that.
Okay, so here's going to be my question to everyone, and I want to hear what your thoughts are. Do you assume when you watch E3 or any press anything, or you see a trailer, do you assume it is running on, that trailer is captured on the system of what you're seeing the broadcast for or the advertisement for or something like that?
I normally assume it's on a really high-powered PC. That's my normal assumption.
I think it just...
I would say actually everything but E3. I would go with that. But like E3 press conferences, unless they're just blatantly lying, they always say this is running on PlayStation or Xbox hardware. But yeah, any trailer or news thing that's coming out, I'm sure it's just a dev, some crazy high-end dev PC that's running it.
So here are my thoughts on this. I think obviously it's an embarrassment in the sense that somebody was asleep at the wheel at their job. My assumption would be that this trailer was provided to PlayStation by EA. That would be my assumption, because I don't think PlayStation is going out and like taking trailers from other places to upload them. That would just be my assumption. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like most of the trailers that are on PlayStation's, or all the trailers that are on PlayStation's YouTube channel or Xbox's YouTube channel, are provided by the publishers of the games. I assume every trailer I ever see for a video game is being captured on PC. End of story. Unless the trailer specifically tells me it is being captured on XYZ system. So, and I think a perfect example of that is, at the Xbox press conference, the Metro trailer was running on a PC. It wasn't running on an Xbox. So it's like one of those things that I just assume, unless you tell me it's running on that system, that it's running on a high-end PC or a dev kit, which isn't spec identical to the system anyway. So I think for me, the biggest thing is video games or the game industry to me needs to decide, are we okay with, hey, here's what our vision is of what we want to do and what we're shooting to do and what we're hoping to do? And are we okay with them showing that? Or are we like, no, you need to start being authentic as far as here is this trailer running on this system for XYZ thing. Now, obviously that gets tough when you have TV commercials for a game that's going to be on multiple systems. How do you choose? But I think that we as gamers or the gaming industry needs to decide which direction they're going to go there, because, you know, I never assume that a game trailer is running on the system that I am seeing unless they specifically tell me it is. So those are my thoughts. Does anybody have something they would like to say about that?
I'll tag onto it just briefly. I've mentioned it before. That's one of the things that's always bugged me about. If you hear those motorcycles in the background,
they're having fun.
The thing that's always bugged me about E3 or Gamescom or whatever conference you want to talk about is when any company, and this always goes back to Killzone for me, shows off a video representing something that isn't actually representative of the final product. So it needs to be said that, we have to take it with a grain of salt. So I think if a game is multi-platform, I think that what we're going to see the video on, if it's not a PC, is whatever development kit they get first. So if BioWare started Anthem on an Xbox One X dev kit, you're going to see it on Xbox. You're going to see RB, RT instead of L1, L2. Like, it's just the way it is. And it's up to that company to make that decision if they want to do what Sony did. Or if they don't have that footage yet because it's being developed. There's no way Anthem is far enough along for them to have gameplay like they showed. So, it is what it is. But if you, in Discord, Seth pointed out, the same thing happened to Xbox with Watch Dogs, where they were caught using PlayStation footage. It's just kind of something that happens. And I think we're just now in this culture where everyone has to pick everything apart. Years ago, I don't think it would be a topic. People would just be like, "Oh, did you see that? They showed it had Xbox controls on it. Haha." Moving on. Like, that's all. It's just silly. It's embarrassing for Sony because they got called out on it, and that's the only reason why I think it's embarrassing for them. Like, it's kind of what happens.
Mo, Justin, anything else to add?
No, not. You guys said it really well. So.
Yeah, I think we kind of covered it.
All right. Well, let's see how things go with this next question. Stone, aka Stone Knight 1 on Twitter, would like to know, which console would you say is most easily defensible as an owner right now?
I have an answer for this one.
I have no doubts you do.
PC or 360.
Those are good answers. Those are really good answers.
PC or the 360. The PS4 has flaws. The Xbox One has flaws. The Switch has flaws. The Wii U had flaws. Those are the two that I can say right now that it's pretty easy to defend being a PC owner. For everything that I get to see what they do, I'm like, oh God, I'm so jealous of you. I wish I had one. I'm just don't ever do it because I'm scared that I'm just going to break it. And the 360, I still have one. I'm still playing games on it, and I love the thing to death. So,
Josh, what do you have to say, sir?
Well, it might be a little controversial. If you had asked me last year, I don't think I would ever have said Sony. But after the first quarter this year, the first 2 quarters, I kind of feel confident that Sony's in good shape. It said most defensible. I don't think any console right now is in a position where they feel like they own the market. But I honestly didn't think I would say this, but I think the Switch right now is in an awesome spot because of the type of games that are available on it. You know what you're getting with the Switch, and it hasn't been out I don't think, long enough for it to be disappointing. Large group of people. Maybe that's a cynical way of looking at it. I know other people disagree with that, but I think right now I play my Switch more than I play my Xbox or my PS4. And I can't say no consoles, right? I can't answer no consoles. So I'll go Switch.
All right. Switch 360 computer. Are you going to jump on the bandwagon, sir?
I would say, well, first of all, you don't have to defend what console you own. Like, I think that's the right answer. I'm sure we would all agree. It's certainly fun to talk about and make fun of, poke jabs at Nathan for being an Xbox guy, and Mo, and they like to throw it back at, me and Kyle for being PlayStation fans. But like, if you have the money to own a console and you like, you're going to be happy with what you buy. I mean, there's a ton of third-party games on all systems that they're all equally fun and good. So, but I will say I am spending Josh, I'm spending a ton of time on my Switch because it's just so easy. It's if you have if you don't have a ton of time to game and you don't have time to sit in front of the TV, owning a Switch is a pretty good deal because you can just play it on the couch while, the rest of the family's watching TV or something. So I do think that's good. But other than that, PlayStation does have some pretty good exclusives, stuff like that. But I definitely don't think we should be defending our console all the time.
All right. So I'm going to agree there. I think that every console at this point, especially with where they're at, has value and has things that are good and worthwhile. I mean, I could easily say the Vita the Vita, which is the Switch 0.5, or the Switch, which is the Vita 2.0. Yeah, there we go. I as this Vita owner, I still really going way back. I am still a huge fan of my Vita, but I'm going to say I think everyone right now, if you were a gamer, and I know sometimes people are like, oh, it's cheesy or it's a cop out, but I think you're in a good position. I think Xbox has some excellent exclusives that you can play on their console. I think PlayStation has some great ones. Xbox also has great services. Yes, Mo, I do have Freedom Wars. But I think there's a lot of good in game right now. And I think no matter what you want to play, there's a place for you to play it, which I think is fantastic. So yeah, I think we're just all lucky as gamers. And I think, for me, the easy answer is my PlayStation 4, because that's what I play on 99% of the times. But I think wherever you play, it's easy to defend why you're playing there, because there's great stuff at every location. Yeah. We did have one more question, but we're not going to ask it because it's from Justin. So we're going to save it for a podcast that Justin isn't on. So
but I had a great answer for this. I was so ready.
Would you like to share it, Mo?
So to be assessed later, Justin's question was, what is everyone's proudest video game accomplishment? Mine, and it'll always be this every year. It's hitting that max legacy score on Madden. So with your created player or created coach, whoever you're with, hitting that top level, you're like, I am now considered, I have done more in this game than Jerry Rice, than these great players. That is always one of my favorite things to do. And every year I do it, I just kind of go, man, I just sunk 300 hours in this game, and I loved every single second. So that's the one I was really excited to share. So
awesome. Well, we're just gonna do it then, since Mo started. We're just gonna go ahead and go for it. So your proudest gaming moment, Josh. What do you got for us?
It's so tough. We had this question, I think, a while ago. I'm gonna stick with my answer, although, I mean, there's so many. The one that sticks out to me the most, though, is growing up, we would always, when I was in grade school and in middle school, I want to say, I would stay over my buddy's house and we would play Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and 9, and I would be the guy reading the guidebook and he'd be the guy playing. And that's what we did. I was the navigator and he was, the puppeteer, if you will. And say my greatest, for me, gaming moment was when I finished started and finished Final Fantasy X on my own by myself, no help. I never thought myself an RPG gamer. So it was a big accomplishment for me to do something like that and sink, 99 hours was how many hours you could log, and then it just stopped at 99, 99, 99. So you didn't even know how many hours you put in, and made sure I got pins and the ultimate summons and all that stuff. So that was a big accomplishment for me, if you could even call it that. That's
Excellent.
what I would say.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. Justin, it's your question, but what's your answer?
Well, like anyone else, the reason I asked this question or any question is because I don't have an answer myself. But I've been sitting here thinking, I was afraid that you were actually going to ask this question, and the question asker, didn't have an answer. But I guess if I had to think about like the happiest I've been playing a video game and like feeling accomplished, probably honestly back in the Halo 2, Halo 3 days of when we call them Halo parties, LAN parties. I was in that group. I was typically one of the better players. And that was always, I was the nerd of the group, but I was always, I was happy to be one of the better Halo players for sure.
Awesome. Surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, I don't know. I always go back and forth when it comes to this. One of mine I will go to actually is a Halo memory. For the brief, fleeting few minutes that I was a level 50 in Halo 3, I was pretty stoked about that. That was pretty great. I never ever thought I would get there. I had a friend who was much, much better than I did, and he dragged me kicking and screaming up to level 50 for a couple games, and I never got back again. But it was great while it lasted. And then also, I played a lot of Call of Duty, especially World at War, which to me is still one of the most underrated Call of Duties. I love that game. Multiplayer, and Modern Warfare 2. And we, the group of guys that I played with, I kid you not, our win percentage was probably in the upper 80s. We would play all night and rarely lose a game. There were many times where we wouldn't lose a game after playing for 5 or 6 hours in multiplayer. That's when I was young and I had reflexes. Now I have to play games like Overwatch because I don't have reflexes, and I have to, rely on my wily knowledge of playing multiplayer shooters to be successful. So that's for me probably my greatest gaming accomplishments. So typically at this point, we would, as a quick reminder, you can always send us questions at podcast@playsomevideogames.com or tweet us at PSVG, and we will be happy to read them on the air. Thank you so much for all of you who sent in questions this week. This was great. I love for our question segment to be this long every week. Typically at this point, we would move in and talk about the news of the week, but news was a little sparse until like the last day and a half, but I planned this before then, so we're just going to go with what I was planning. So rather than talk about news, we're going to talk about our halfway favorites. So it's not uncommon that this time of the year, the days have gotten longer and the game releases slowed down a bit. So this means we're halfway through the year, and I want to take some time to reflect on our favorite games we have played thus far this year. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about our favorite games. These not be the quote-unquote best games. These are just the games that we say, hey, this is what I had a lot of fun with, and these are my favorites. So we're just going to bounce around, talk about some of the best games we've played this year, and then, wrap it up and go home after we're all done with that. So, Justin, what's one of your favorite games you've played this year?
It's probably, we say it a lot, but Zelda. I don't play a lot of video games or put a lot of hours into games. So this is a drastically lower number than everyone else on the PSVG team. I've put like 50 or close to 60 hours into Zelda.
Not lower than everybody.
I'm 0.
Yeah. Okay. So some people have me beat and have less hours. But it's the most time I've spent with a single game though. So it's definitely one of my favorites by far this year. And I think something will probably top it because I will admit, Mo, that Zelda's not for everyone, and it's kind of got its own weird style. I wish I could hear those claps.
It's like redemption has happened.
Yeah. So I will definitely like. There's games I haven't played yet, like Nier Automata and Neo. Like those are more my style. So I have a feeling by the time I get to those, they might top Zelda. But so far, that's my favorite.
So there's a lot to have been about how revolutionary Zelda is. I'm not someone who's played the game, but from your perspective, what are the things that Zelda does that you would like to see happen in other games or other games to pick up or adopt or incorporate?
It definitely depends on the game. But the open exploration, the ability to go anywhere and choose your own order of events. I definitely think there's something really cool about that. It absolutely doesn't work for every game. Like I would hate a Last of Us 2 that let you do whatever you want right from the right off the start. I think that would be a bad game. But if you design the game around that idea, I would like to see that in another game that's not Zelda. So it can definitely be done. But other than that, that was the biggest thing, was the open exploration and being able to go wherever you want right off the start. You do like, maybe a half hour's worth of work and then you're free. And there's some, okay. The other thing that people really like is that you can climb anything. That's not a great mechanic because it's slow and annoying. Technically you can climb everything, but some of those things are not fun to climb. It's not fun to sit there for 20 minutes climbing up a mountain.
And then you get to the top and freeze to death.
Yeah, exactly. I think the exploration thing is the one thing that I'd like to see in more games.
Awesome. Josh, what's one of your favorite games you've played this year?
Well, one of my favorite games I played this year is my favorite game I've ever played in my entire life. So I think maybe I'll start with that. So Horizon Zero Dawn came out. It surprised me. I didn't pay too much attention to it until when people just started, hyping it up more and more and more, and that slow build. And I don't think I was still like, I thought it looked cool. It's like, oh, cool. It's like Dino Crisis, but with mechs. So I'll give it a shot. And, I don't even know if I can tell you why, specifically, because it's everything. The game is unique while being very familiar. It's a game that you can pick up and you can say it feels like all these other types of games you've played, like God of War or Uncharted. But it's not really like playing those games. I made a joke to Kevin today because I was talking about playing Breath of the Wild, and I didn't want to say it on Discord because I thought it would rile some people up, but I'm playing Breath of the Wild, and I don't think I'm enjoying it as much because I played Horizon first. And everyone on PSVG says the total opposite of that.
Not everyone.
They're like, oh, not everyone, but a bunch of people are like, Horizon's okay, but I feel like because I played Zelda first, it ruined it for me. Well, I feel the opposite about Zelda right now. In Zelda right now, I just did in Horizon, except I liked it better in Horizon. I literally climbed a mountain for 20 minutes in Zelda.
That will happen
because I was underdressed. What the hell?
You're supposed to put your coat on before you go outside, don't you know?
Yeah.
Or eat some peppers.
But yeah, I guess I had plenty of peppers. I didn't know eating hot peppers is going to make me warm and keep me from freezing to death. But I'm mostly kidding about the Zelda part. I'm not trying to tear it down. I'm finding myself addicted to it as well. But Horizon. I could do a 3-hour podcast about Horizon.
Awesome.
We won't, but I could.
Maybe someday we could do it. I think we could set that up. So, Coach Mo, unfortunately, Madden has not yet released this year.
I can't
So-
wait for when it does. But
So as a result, what is one of the favorite games you have played this year?
Mine is going to be Near Automata's second playthrough. I will say this, like, to me, there's a big difference between good and great. That first playthrough is good. That second playthrough is great. And yeah, there's some overlap between 2B and NS, but that other time when you're separate is epic. And then you play through the third time and you get this another campaign, and these are different campaigns that, yeah, it shows you the same battle in this area when you're joined up, but then you split off into different areas and you get more story. And so that second time you play through that game, it becomes a better game, a fantastic game. So instead of pushing me for DLC, you've given me more story just by playing it a second time. And I absolutely adore that game.
Gosh, I have to get to that second playthrough. All right. So for me, one of my favorite games I played this year, and I'm going to try to highlight maybe a little bit of some smaller games. This game got a lot of buzz, and the reviewers really loved it, but I don't know how well it has sold or how many people have played it, but that is What Remains of Edith Finch. This nice little walking simulator, single-player adventure, whatever you want to call it, or what genre you want to put it in, by the folks at Giant Sparrow who did Unfinished Swan. This game is spectacular. After I played Horizon, I was like, well, I feel like my game of the year might be pretty much sewn up. And then I played Nier, and I was like, oh, maybe not. And then I played What Remains of Edith Finch, and I was like, oh, wow, really, maybe not. This game, I don't know how or why, but there's something about how they tell the story in this game that is better than most movies you will see, is more engaging than many video games that exist. And it does these really cool little interludes that are all completely different. What you're doing in them and how you're doing them and how you navigate through them is completely unique. There's one that I'll highlight, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's one where you're sitting on a swing. I have never felt like I was swinging so much in a game as I did during that moment. It was enthralling. It was one of the coolest gaming experiences I've had all year. I wish I could experience it again for the first time. I hope everyone plays it, because that, excuse me, is a game that seemed to disappear for a long time. We've heard about it for a long time. We knew it was coming, and I didn't know how it could possibly live up to the hype. And if you've played The Unfinished Swan and remember it, there is some really cool stuff of how they tie it all together. So I really cannot recommend enough What Remains of Edith Finch. Have any of you guys played it?
Yeah, I remember I sent you a picture from the end.
Yeah.
I adore that game. Really, really good.
I haven't played it yet. But I mean, how long did it take to get through?
2 hours, maybe hour and a half.
Okay, yeah, that's
Okay.
I gotta play that then.
Yeah, it is very short. If you can do it in one sitting, I recommend it. So if you can just sit down for 90 minutes to 2 hours, and it's going to be a really great 90 minutes to 2 hours. So I definitely recommend it.
Okay,
Cool.
Justin, what is another game that has been a grand game for you this year?
Horizon. I've played through all of Zelda, but I have not played through all of Horizon. Though Horizon seems like more my type of game, so I need to just make the time to. I kind of move my PlayStation down here, so I kind of need to make the time to come down here and just kind of get through that and play some more. I think I put a couple hours in last week, and I'll probably get some more in this weekend. But I mean, Josh, said a lot of, pretty much everything I have to say about it. It's not one thing or another. It's a good package. The whole game is, and I mean, the setting is probably the coolest, thing about it to me. It's definitely very unique. I can only take so many zombies or space settings where they all blend together. So for the Dino future, I'm all for it.
Awesome. Josh, what is another game that has been a great experience for you so far?
Well, speaking of like a change of scenery, an escape from all the zombies and the shooters. A surprise for me, and just a fun game in general. It's not. I don't think it's going to win a crazy amount of awards. Would be For Honor, which kind of scratched. I don't know if you guys ever played Bushido Blade, one or two or whatever. It really scratched that itch. I've been waiting for a game similar to that. So I'm a big fan of. They made parrying and strategy fun and exciting in a almost basically strategy game. Like you have a lot of things to think about in that game, and you can't just. I mean, you can go up and just hack and slash at somebody, and you can get lucky because they might not be changing their defensive stance, but it has the capture and control elements that you kind of find in like a Destiny matchmaking in fights. But it also has the giant battles similar to Dynasty Warriors. And then it also has that one-on-one combat against other players. You got your PvP stuff where you have to try to see how they're standing, which way you're going to attack them, and hope they're not watching how quickly you're changing your stances. I think it's just a brilliant game, the way that they rolled that out. I really think that I think there'd be a lot more people playing it, at least than when it came out.
How have you played it recently?
I haven't played it recently. I know they've done a bunch of updates to the combat system, but I haven't played it recently.
Because I was just curious how large the online community still and how active the online community still was for that game.
A cool thing, like if you ever looked on the online maps, it's kind of like a living environment where there's always battles going on, and you're fighting for each like clan, if you will, is fighting for supremacy over the map. So that was something that even if not a lot of people are playing, you'll still, like, if you're playing as a knight, you can still go in and see samurais controlling a majority of the map, and you want to go and try to take that over so you get experience points for your side. And I thought that was also cool. You can get, unlock different gear and different samurais, kind of taking that Halo customization and putting it into the game.
Awesome. Very cool. Coach Mo, what's another great experience you've had?
This one's actually pretty recent. Dead by Daylight has been just a lot of fun. It was me and my friend Ray first got it, and we played a little bit against each other on Mixer, and everybody got to watch that and watch me get murdered multiple times by him. A horror game. Less laggy than the Friday the 13th game has been, so that's really nice. But then would have been last weekend, our friend Dan, he picked it up, and the three of us got to play. That one, with that extra added person, it became more fun. So we're in the game, we're all on the same team, we're all trying to escape the killer, and Ray's wife's watching and like, no, run the other way, and I'm just laughing because like I hear her and she's cracking me up, and then like we keep trying to tell Dan like, hey, no, we're doing this, and then one of us will make a mistake, and then it actually became like the last like 2 matches were us trolling each other. Like we'd run up to fix something, and then hit the wrong button so that it makes a lot of noise so the killer knew where we were at, and then we'd run with the other person stuck there, and it just became like this really fun experience. And so like I've had so much fun with that game. I'm so glad that I picked it up, and now I'm playing with these guys. I would love to get more people in it. It's so much fun. But yeah, really enjoying that game so far.
So you like it better than Friday the 13th?
Way better, less laggy. I mean, way less laggy.
Gotcha. Very, very cool. Another game for me is one that I talked about just a little bit ago, and that has to be Next Machina. This game is, if you're looking for something to purely test your gaming skill on, this is an excellent opportunity for you to do that. I was pretty stoked when the other day I got my high score into the top 500 in the world. I was really, really excited about that because I'd worked so hard, and that was just in the arena in one level. But I was very, very happy about that I had gotten into the top 500, which it took me a long time and a lot of effort and a lot of practicing. And there's so many secrets and like hidden things and stuff to keep track of. I just have so much fun when I'm playing that game that is hard for me to put down. It's always just one more run, just one more run, just one more run. And 2.5 hours later, I'm like, I got to go up for work in a few hours. I got to go to bed. But that game, it's beautiful. The action is frenetic. It is such a great time. And there's constantly more to discover as you're playing it. Honestly, the only thing that I would have to say negative of the game is that there's so many voxels and awesome, cool things flying around on the screen that sometimes it gets distracting and you lose track of where you are because it looks so darn pretty. That game, if you have a chance to pick it up, Housemarque is a studio I've always loved, and this game just shows why they are the masters of what they do with twin stick shooters. And it's really hard for me to pull myself away from this game when I have other games I need to play for either review or friends who are like, hey, let's play Overwatch. I'm like, yeah, just one more run. I'll catch up to you. You just play a game. I'll be right there. And then 2 hours later, I'm still playing Next Machina. So can't recommend it enough, especially if you like twin stick shooters. That game is just fantastic. All right, we're going to do one more round of this, and then we're going to kind of wrap things up. So, Justin, if you had to pick one more game that was a great experience, what would you have to say, sir? You're muted, bud.
oh, that helps. My other better experience of this year, I mean, I already talked about it, but Thumper. And I guess I almost want to say like the Switch itself, just because it's the console I bought this year, and Thumper is part of that, and so is Mario Kart, and of course Zelda. I just love that system. And I still love my PS4 and my PC a lot, and I definitely will be playing a lot more games on that in the future. But for right now, I'm kind of stuck on the Switch and playing on the couch. And every once in a while, I'll throw it up on the TV, but mostly I do handheld. And that's kind of my, when I think about 2017 gaming, it's all about the Switch for me. And it's my new toy, so that fun will fade over time. But for now, that's definitely what I'm thinking about and my favorite of this year.
Awesome. Josh, what would be your third great experience you've had?
I mean, it's got to be Mass Effect Andromeda, right?
If it is for you, that's awesome, man.
No, it's not.
Okay, I was just saying, if it is, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's Injustice 2 for sure. No question about it. And I know I don't know if it seems obvious to people or not, but it kind of seems obvious to me. It's one of those games that had the effect that I assumed Andromeda would have. I expected it to be great, and it is great. It was great. Like, it's constantly evolving. They keep the fans engaged. Every day is a new tower. Every week there's new epic gear for each character. Today is July 6th. In 5 days, we're going to get Sub-Zero launched. And I just watched an interview with Ed Boon saying, like, all the gear they made, it's going to be every iteration of Sub-Zero and all the other. And be able to get gear from how he looked in every Mortal Kombat game. And that's incredible that they have the ability to do that and to keep doing that. Like, we're just looking at Red Hood just came out 2 weeks ago. Now we're going to have Sub-Zero, and then we're going to have Starfire. And we still have 6 more characters coming out after that. That's a game that's promising content, and it feels so new every time you play with the characters. Like, I have friends who are like, let's come over and play some more Injustice once the new character comes out. And you'll play and you'll want to see them interact with every other character in the game. It's like a whole new game every 3 weeks, if not every week, when I'm trying to get my epic gear for Batman or for Red Hood or Like, I love it. I wish I could play it more, but I mean, it's kind of has that, for me, it kind of has that destiny pull. Like, once you start playing, you kind of have to off away a little bit, otherwise that would just consume everything I do. That's how much I love it. I think it's a great game. If Horizon hadn't come out, it might be my game of the year for so far this year.
Awesome.
Are you normally like a fighting game? Like, do you get into Street Fighter, and do you normally get into Mortal Kombat and stuff like that? Or
yes and no. Like, I'm more of a couch fighter online competitively. Like, we'll have things where like we'll have people come over and either pass the controller back and forth to do story. I haven't enjoyed a Street Fighter in a long time though, and that used to be my like go-to game. So I think Injustice is a lot different. It started with Mortal Kombat 9, like started a revolution in the fighting games where they had this immersive interactive story where you played as every character through the story. And the whole fighting mechanic has been changed where I think it's more accessible to people who don't always play fighting games. And I'll use the example of I played the demo for the new Marvel vs. Capcom, and it's terrible because they tried to dumb it down for non-fighting gamers. Slow, and you could press 3 buttons and randomly do a special move. Like, whatever format, whatever formula the Mortal Kombat guys found, they crushed it. Because I don't know, there's another game called the Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe that might be one of the worst fighting games ever created. So bumps and bruises along the way, but I think that this hits that formula. And if you're looking to get into a fighting game that you're not really a fighting game person, the story alone in Injustice and Injustice 2 is comic book level. It's phenomenal. They do a great job. And they do stuff that you can't do in comics necessarily for canon, which is fun.
Awesome. Coach Mo, your third and final game that's made you smile this year.
I wasn't gonna talk about this one, but hearing Josh be so passionate, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna open up, share a little more. Golf Club 2. And so every year I play competitively for money on with sports games. The last couple of years it's been mostly Madden, but last year there was a pretty good little group who you could go in and wager. You'll play $10 tourneys, and you're just playing online. You go through and you get your money. And I did that with Golf Club. No. What was the one before that? The silly one. I think it was one of the Tiger Woods ones we did that. But this one, the way they've set it up online, it's phenomenal. It's really good. And so I've lost a little money. I've won a little money. But adding that extra competitiveness for me makes the game so much more fun. Again, it's not through the game. You're not gambling on the game, folks. There are other third-party websites you go to do that. But I'm having a lot of fun doing it with this one. And it's been just a really good time. This is the first time in a long time that I've done this with golf. Normally it's Madden that I do it with. And I'm having a really good time. So if you're into golf games, this is really fun competitive-wise, and the modes are really good. So
awesome. Man, is there anything Coach Mo can't do and do well? Apparently the answer is no.
Zelda.
I'm sure you could if you wanted to.
The answer is Zelda.
Awesome. So the third one I'm going to pick, I am just going to go ahead and pick probably the obvious pick, which is Horizon Zero Dawn. I put 50 hours into that game in 2 weeks, which is unheard of and something I never do. I loved every minute of it. Does it have problems? Sure. There are parts of it that are not perfect, but that was a world I constantly wanted to get back to. And I always think about games in the sense of like, when I'm not playing it, do I think about the world and wanting to go back to that world and doing that? And I absolutely wanted to with that game. I feel the same way about the Uncharted games. I typically feel the same way about the Tomb Raider games. Like those are just, I love that style of game and that adventure, and just that world was so cool to me, and everything you got to do in that world was so cool. And I just had a ton of fun while I was playing it. I would sit down and lose hours and hours, and the story was far better than I expected. and they're continuing to support it, including stuff, a new patch that just came out today with new trophies and new difficulties and new game plus, and the DLC this fall, which I'm stoked about and I've already pre-ordered. I love that game. I'm glad it turned out. I was super stoked for it, and I was really worried that the hype level I had for it was going to make it so the game couldn't live up to it, but it definitely did. And I was really thrilled that it turned out the way that they did, and that Guerrilla was able to do something that really showed how quality of a studio they are. They've made really gorgeous games in the past, but they kind of were always just fine with shooters, as far as Killzone goes. And I think this really, for them, was taking that next step and making that leap. And I feel like how passionate they were about that game shows through while you play it. So for me, that's the other one that, definitely is vying and was one of those great things for me this year. So we've each said 3. Is there any other game anyone else wants to throw out that they think is important to get mentioned that was a great experience for them this year?
I have 2 little ones that are just for like, I normally talk about like kid-friendly games because I don't have kids, but I'm thinking if you're a parent who's got kids and you're looking for like kid-friendly games you can play with them, Cars 3 is a lot of fun, and the new Micro Machine game is also a lot of fun. My wife and I went through and she helped me with some achievement hunting on Cars 3. We had a blast. The actual racing is pretty good. The competitiveness is pretty good, and the levels are pretty fun. So just something to maybe look at if you are looking for something to play with your kids. I think it's on all 3. I think it's on the Switch, PS4, and Xbox One as well. I'm not sure on the Switch one, but I think I saw box art for it. But I know for sure it's on PS4 and Xbox One.
So Mo, let me ask you really quick. I think one quote I heard about Cars 3 was that it was more fun than the game had any right to be. Is that accurate?
I would totally say that. Like, it has a funny little story in there that actually led to making me and my wife go see the movie. Like, we had no interest in seeing the movie till we played the game. Like, because there's just some really funny back and forth banter between 2 of like. So basically, like, the main menu are these 2 TV hosts talking about the races. And the dude like says all this really like ignorant, stupid stuff, and the girl's like, "This is why I was right." Like the last 10 races, and like I just always chuckle like it's got like these really funny one-liners that they're going through, and then you select your game modes, and there's a bunch. There's one that involves doing flips in the air during a race. There's one where you're shooting people, like blowing up little cars in front of you with different weapons that you have to pick up as power-ups. There's a normal racing. There's an open world little sandbox in it created with a bunch of collectibles in it that's kind of fun to jump into. Not as big as the one in Cars 1 was. And I want to say it's on par with what Cars 2 was. But this one, I only did it because they were easy 1000s. This is by far my favorite of the 3. So really, really fun to play.
Awesome. Josh or Justin, any other games you guys want to add?
I would say Wildlands. We don't really have to get into too much on it, but I think Ghost Recon Wildlands, they did a great job with that, and they're still supporting that with a lot of content. Obviously, maybe not obviously. It's a game you really need a crew with to play with. I mean, you can do it solo, but that game's meant to play with friends, and it's gonna sound weird, but that game got me through a really tough time. And I played to put our dog down. We came home, the beta was out. He was there, and was it you?
I was there, yeah.
You were there, and we were supposed to play with Devin, but he never showed up. And we played for like 4 hours, I want to say, and we were laughing, and we were having a blast, and we were doing some serious stuff, and then Donnie's yelling at me because he got us blown up, and like it was just so much fun. I created my dude to look like Chuck Norris. Like this, it's just one of those things that it's a good example of how gaming with a group of people like us that are close can really get you through stuff too. So like that's one of my like, if you will, for PSVG, where that really enhanced the game for me. That game could have been bad, and I could have been in a terrible, terrible mood for a week after that. So I still think that's a great game, and it's a game I want to play more and more if I have the opportunity. So that'll be my last thing I mention.
It was definitely a crappy situation, but it is definitely my favorite gaming memory of the year. So thank you for letting me be part of it.
Nice. Awesome.
Justin, anything for you, sir, that you'd like to add?
No, I have not played enough games this year that have come out this year to. There's games I need to play that I'm really looking forward to. Just haven't gotten around to yet. But I gotta say that's a really awesome story, Josh. Like that's definitely what makes me happy to be part of PSVG. Yeah, I I hope our listeners can join us in some of these gaming, when we have these gaming nights and stuff. So to get more stories like that.
Absolutely. So to wrap up, we're going to do this quickly. I thought it'd be nice, if you had to award your favorite game of the year thus far, which game would be valiantly lifting that trophy over its head? I feel like I know the answers for some of you, but we just to get them on record. Josh, what game would you give that award to?
Yeah, I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn. No question.
Awesome. Justin, what would you say?
Zelda, definitely.
Awesome. I probably going to surprise some people, right? If I had to vote today, I probably would say What Remains of Edith Finch would be my game of the year at this point. So, Coach Mo, what would you say, sir?
If I had to, my heart's saying one thing, my brain's saying another. So I'm going to go with what my heart's saying because I forgot to talk about a game, and this is the right time to talk about it. The Walking Dead New Frontier would right now be my game of the year.
Wow.
So, amazing story. It's one of those things because Nier's more fresh in my head because I think I'm on my third or fourth playthrough right now with that one, and I finished that one a while ago when the last episode came out. But like as I was listening, that we were hearing about these great moments in gaming, that game has led to great conversation with friends, especially about like the different ways that different cultures react in situations, and talking about how this family reacted. And this is like the first family unit that we've seen that's a true family sticking together in these games, and what an incredible story it was. So yeah, that would be the one that, as I would like, we were hearing these great moments that popped right into my head. And I was like, I can say that with a clean conscience. So
awesome, man. I own that game. I just need to play it now. Because Nathan was talking about how great it was the other day. And I'm
that
like,
episode 3, man, just once you finish episode 3, please message me, because there's something that happens for some people based on choices. And if it's the same thing, I just look at you as in a new way. Like, we are best friends for life because we both ended that episode the same way.
Okay, I will let you know. I will let you know.
Okay.
Well, as always, everyone, we appreciate you listening, but we want to interact and chat with you too. So, Josh, if people want to interact with you and get to talk with you more, how can they do that?
I don't know why they would want to. You can follow me on Twitter, Josh Bones. Why So Serious on both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That's SIRRIUS. I'm on the Switch. Once again, Nintendo making it hard to find people. I can't tell you my Switch code. It's out there on Twitter. But I think that's it. I mean, go check out my review.
Awesome.
PSVG.com.
Justin, where can people find you on the internet?
Discord. Join our Discord channel for sure. We have a general chat on there, and I try to hop in there more than anything else. Basically, I'm on Twitter, but I don't do a lot. So, but yeah, I think there's a post on the website, and I mean you can definitely find us. And yeah, join that chat, and then you'll see how mad and crazy we are, and how many messages we send back and forth all day.
Though I will say it has calmed down a little bit since we moved from Slack to Discord, which I think thankfully allows me to get a little more work done during the day. So that's good. Coach Bo, where can people find you on the internet?
I think on Twitter I'm Coach Hulk. I'm pretty sure. On Xbox, it was changed to the Coach Hulk thanks to Nate. I'm only going to shout him out for that change because I forgot on Xbox we can change our names whenever we want to. So I was like, wait, why have I been Coach Mo this whole time? Coach Hulk. Yeah, let's keep the trend going. I don't know what I am on PS4 because I jump on there. It's basically I play the exclusive games and I play baseball on it. So I think it's like Coach Mo, something like that. I'll look it up and find out. And yeah, would love to talk about almost any game. I love playing and would love to talk to more of you. So thanks for all the great questions from those people we shouted out on Twitter. Love y'all. You're fantastic people.
Absolutely. We love hearing from everyone, and we do this for you, and we want to do whatever we can to make it better for you. So hit us up with that feedback. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at Cycocross, CYCOCROSS. That is also my PSN name. So feel free to add me on there. We can play some Marvel Heroes Omega or some Overwatch on there. I am always down for that if I'm not score chasing in Next Machina. Make sure to visit the website at playsomevideogames.com. Check out all the reviews and the news that we have there. You can email us at podcast@playsomevideogames.com or hit us up on Twitter at PSVG. Like and follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/playsomevideogames, and of course on youtube.com/playsomevideogames as well. Thank you very much for joining us this week. And as always, folks, never stop gaming.